Hello everyone, my name is Kiva and I teach people how to achieve the luxe look for less. In today's video, we're talking about the interior design step that you're skipping that is crucial to crafting a beautiful home, and we're doing all of that by redesigning my own living room. Before we get into today's video though, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And I do want to thank Fiverr for sponsoring today's video, but I'll tell you more about Fiverr later on. Let's get into it. You guys, we've made so many changes to the house and I'm so excited for all of them. We decided to paint the walls and it's something that I've wanted to for a long time. Plus we changed out the kitchen cabinet. So our entire home is moving a lot towards the contemporary. It is just going to be contemporary haven. That's what we love and that's what we think will be evergreen in terms of our design style. That being said, there are a lot of different things you can do. We love our parallel sofas, but we're like, maybe we should try something else. Maybe we should do something different. So to figure that out, the best way to do that is to do some renderings. If you don't know what a rendering is, that basically means that you get a photorealistic image of what the space could look like. You have no idea how many times you might see, someone come up with a design idea, but they've never put all those images together. They've never put the products together to really see if you could bring that thing to life successfully. So I love using 3D renderings to kind of bring my designs to life, to see if they make sense in terms of space planning, in terms of color coordination, and all of that good stuff, so that I can feel confident in what I'm purchasing and what I'm designing before I even do so. And I love doing this for my own products at home and for my clients. So as an interior stylist, I do my own 3D renderings all the time for my clients, and I love doing that. But when it comes to myself, I just don't have time. So I wanted to use Fiverr to help me out with this project. And again, I want to say thank you to Fiverr for sponsoring today's video. Fiverr is the largest marketplace for digital services in the world. No matter what your project is, no matter what your goals are, Fiverr has the ability to connect you with the best freelancers and professionals for your project. Getting started with Fiverr is super easy. Just head on over to the Fiverr website and click join. Put in all your information and you are good to go. Whether you're into graphic design, visual media, marketing, no matter what your interests are, Fiverr has the ability to connect you to the appropriate freelancer. One of the best things about Fiverr is you are connected to the best freelancer for you in under 5 minutes. The prices are truly unbeatable, and if you are unsatisfied with your purchase, they even have a money back guarantee. But my experience on Fiverr thus far has been incredible. So to get started with my 3D rendering project, I headed over to Fiverr and I just typed in interior design 3D rendering and hit search. After I did that, all of these phenomenal professionals showed up. And what I did is I scrolled through a little bit and I looked at all of their qualifications. There were over 6,000 services available. And one of my absolute favorite parts about Fiverr is you can actually find freelancers based on your timeline. So again, if you need a 24-hour turnaround or you're just impatient when it comes to your interior design, you can actually find a freelancer who has the ability to get your product back to you ASAP, which is a luxury. Now, I have a very firm idea of my design style. I love contemporary interior design, but I wanted to see what the freelancers could come up with. So I actually found this seller. He had a ton of reviews. He had 391 reviews and he was labeled as a top seller. So I looked at all of his offerings and I ended up choosing I will create realistic exterior interior design render. I was kind of blown away by the reviews. I mean, every single room was brilliant and I was like, wow, I need to redesign every room of my house, which I'm not gonna do, but I was blown away with his skill set. So what I did is I came over here to look at his different offerings. He had a basic, standard, and a premier offering where he provides fully textured 3D models, a background scene, and ultra resolution render for one view. To do this project though, I did have to provide a few things up front. So I provided the layout of our space that included the measurements and a few pictures of our living room. In my case, I really wanted the freelancers to kind of have creative liberty because I wanted to see what they came up with. So when I got the order back from this freelancer, I was kind of surprised. Again, I didn't give them any creative direction. So I feel like they came up something that was super modern and minimal, almost mid-century inspired. So if you look at this room, they have a sofa and 2 chairs, which is something that I've actually always imagined for our space. I really love the parallel sofas that we do have, but it does limit the walkway, and sometimes it might be nice to maneuver the space a little bit better. Now, something that I actually love that they did is they got a sofa that had some legs. So the sofa has some height off of the floor, which is a really solid design decision and something that I wish that we'd done. So I love our sofas. They're really nice and modular, but when your sofas don't have legs, they kind of sink into the floor. And given that we have 15 feet tall ceilings, it would have been nice actually to have our furniture a little bit more elevated so that light could pass underneath. Sure, that isn't great when it comes to the vacuuming, but otherwise it makes the space feel a little bit more inviting and a little bit less stuck on the ground. I was also really amused by the fact that they had a brick wall in this rendering, because there's actually a brick wall behind everything that you have going on back there. They were actually supposed to leave it exposed, but they ended up covering it with drywall. I'm really upset about it, but I actually really like that they whitewashed it because it brightens up the space and it adds a ton of texture without making the space lean industrial, which an entire red brick exposed wall definitely wouldn't have done in our space. So I think that this is a great in between. Now, what I will say here is this freelancer decided to leave the furniture off of the walls, which makes a ton of sense. In the design community, we talk about all the time, you don't want all of your furniture kind of like on the periphery of the room. But when you have deeper pieces of furniture, which the sofa even is, it really takes away from space to maneuver, because even though this is pushed off of the wall, you actually still wouldn't walk behind here to access anything, especially with this painting. And back here, the space is really open. So I probably would push things back a little bit more. I feel like the space is already open with these chairs. But what I do love is that they kept everything on this wall and this wall instead of doing kind of like a parallel arrangement with a sofa here and the chairs there, or vice versa, because that would have really closed off the living room and kind of prevented you from walking in. I also adore that they went with a round coffee table. So if you've seen our space before, we had this big coffee table because we didn't do any space planning, and that's why we needed Fiverr. But had we done the space planning, we would have known that a 36-inch coffee table was way too big for the space, especially given the depth of our sofa. So I love that they did something round because the space is rectangular, the sofas are rectangular, so this introduces another shape. Plus, the coffee table is a lot smaller, so you can really easily walk around it and use it. It's not taking up all the floor space, and plus the floor is brightened by that really nice white Moroccan rug, so it keeps the space feeling really nice, light, and airy. So I could really tell that this freelancer was thinking about all of those design principles, which I love. Now, this is the second freelancer I chose from Fiverr. They had 633 reviews, which is amazing. They got such great reviews. I loved all of their photos. Even as you look through here, you were able to see all of these renderings. And I actually chose this particular designer because their design style really aligns heavily with mine. There's a lot of contemporary features. So even though I didn't want to tell my freelancer what to do, I wanted to find one that kind of aligned with me better, because I felt like they would be able to do something that worked better for me. So this rendering is what my hopes and dreams are made of. Like, I'm pretty sure this is what I'm actually gonna do to this space, and I am stoked. This is actually very similar to design I came up for myself, but let's talk through this design. So this design has a lot of black and white and some gold accents, which is exactly what we have here in our home. So they added a light rug to the floor, which I absolutely adore. It looks like it is just like a textured woven rug, which I love. I think in our case, because of all the wool, we probably wouldn't do that, but it is a great feature, and it has some sheen to it, which is really important in contemporary design. You want the light to hit things kind of differently, so I love that the rendering was able to embody this. Again, this is why rendering is so important. This is why Fiverr is such a valuable asset, because you can actually think about those design elements that might not occur to you all of the rest of the time. Something else they did in this room is they added this black slatting. So this is this type of accent wall that I absolutely adore, because it is a partial accent wall. You're adding some details, but not too many details. Not something that's overwhelming and not something that is difficult to take down. That goes in this back left corner. I adore it. And I think our ceilings are a little bit taller than what they have here, but I think this is something that would still be feasible for our home. So in this room, they didn't actually have a television, which is right up my alley, but they had a ton of fun sculptures and leaning artwork. You guys know I love to lean artwork because it doesn't mess up your wall. You can switch it out whenever you want, and it adds some dimension, which is always great. But what really did it for me is this sofa. So we have two parallel sofas right now. You guys know this, and I love having two parallel sofas. That's great. Sectional, I don't know, sometimes I want a sectional because babe and I want to lay on the same sofa. I feel like that is a normal desire. So to make that happen, we're thinking about a sectional that is super modular and very contemporary. But those are kind of hard to find because they are either too deep for our space or something like that. But what I love about this sectional that they found is that there is actually an ottoman built into the sectional. So there is a space that doesn't have a backing on it, so it allows some more light to pass through and it's a lot less dense. So even though the sofa is kind of sucked into the ground as contemporary furniture actually is, there is a break in it that makes it feel a little bit more open, which I absolutely adore. And of course they have black accent pillows, which we have as well. We love the black accent pillows, but they are few and far between. They're just 3 pillows on the entire sofa, keeping everything nice and minimal. Something else I really appreciate about this design is if you look here, you can see the slatting, and then to the right of it, there is this artwork. So when you add slatting like this, it actually eliminates your need for a ton of artwork, which keeps things a little bit more affordable, because getting massive artwork for this room is very pricey. It is really expensive to get really large art, so you can actually get a smaller piece and just use it on one side because the decorative molding is kind of the art for the left side. Now, I love these light fixtures. They're not feasible for us, but I love how interesting they are. But they did a perfect job of choosing a round coffee table here. I might have chosen something a little bit smaller so that you can walk around here better, but round was perfect. And I love that the coffee table and the side table perfectly match one another because it just leads to cohesion, and you know we love that here. We want everything to feel really nice and seamless. But I love this sectional idea because you can really easily just kind of like walk into the living space instead of having to, you know, just go through this narrow walkway, which is kind of the situation we have now. And this is reified right here. If you look, you can really walk right in here, and there's a ton of space to exist. So if we have kids or we're having game night or doing whatever it is we want to do, there's more space to kind of exist and play in our living room, which you don't really have now. Our living room right now is kind of for like sitting and discussion, but our sofas are so deep that it really makes it hard for game playing, and a sectional like this makes it a lot easier to kind of have conversation, and I really love this concept altogether. So as an interior stylist myself, of course I know how to do the 3D rendering, but what I really love about Fiverr is they help me feel more confident in my design decisions, right? Because I want to see if someone else who hasn't talked to me about the design or anything like that can come up with the same vision as me. And that's exactly what actually happened with this last freelancer. So I am so unbelievably excited. Plus they actually sent over the SketchUp file to me so I can make my own modifications even with the things that they built themselves, which is super fun. So if you know how to use SketchUp or any software like that, you can actually use it yourself and expand upon what that freelancer did. Again, working with both of these freelancers, the turnaround was less than 2 days, which was absolutely fantastic. So I was able to move forward on my project immediately. If you want to try out Fiverr yourself, head to fvrr.co/DIY with KB to check out all of the amazing services available to you and use the code DIY with KB for 10% off. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Be sure to subscribe to see all the wonderful updates we make to our home. Again, thanks to the Fiverr freelancer and my own designs, I'm so excited to bring that beautiful, incredible design to life. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Be sure to head over to fvrr.co/DIY with KB to check out all the services available to you, and remember to use the code DIY with KB to get 10% off. Until next time, have a beautiful day.